Have you ever sat down to read a favorite book and noticed the letters blur at dusk and thought, this is just part of getting older? What if I told you it is not always inevitable, and that one little-known nutrient can make a real difference for people over 50? In this video, you will learn about a powerful, often overlooked vitamin that supports the macula and retina and practical steps you can take today. We will walk through 5 real-life stories that show how diet and smart supplementation helped people preserve sight, explain the biology in plain terms, and give a checklist you can use with your doctor. If protecting your vision matters to you, type Vision Clear in the comments so I know who is ready to act. Subscribe to Vision Wise Over 50 for weekly practical tips to keep your independence and clarity. Now let me tell you about Eleanor, who thought fading eyesight was simply aging, until a careful exam revealed a treatable imbalance. Eleanor felt the room light change before she noticed the words on a page slide together. At the clinic, she remembers the antiseptic smell, the soft click of a machine, and Dr. Patel saying that her macula showed signs of early degenerative change. Dialogue scene. Eleanor says, "I did not expect this at 57. Dr. Patel answers, "We can slow this. There are nutritional steps." Eleanor asks, "Will I go blind?" Dr. Patel says, "Not if we act now." Eleanor asks, "What should I start with?" Dr. Patel lists lutein and zeaxanthin, and a check for vitamin D. Eleanor asks about eating more carrots. Dr. Patel explains retinol and beta-carotene are different, and lutein is what concentrates in the macula. Eleanor asks, "How fast will I see improvement?" Dr. Patel notes that benefits take months, but they are real. Eleanor thanks him and touches her reading glasses as if testing the texture of reassurance. This scene includes sensory notes, a waiting room clock ticking, the cool plastic of the chair, the faint scent of coffee from a vending machine, the pale blue light from the vision chart, and the soft, papery feel of a brochure on macular health. The clinical explanation was simple. The macula acts like a natural sunglasses for the retina, filtering blue light and reducing oxidation and inflammation in tiny capillaries. Backstory. Eleanor grew up on a small farm where mornings smelled of hay and apples, and her childhood eyes learned to track birds at sunrise. She trained as a librarian and spent decades surrounded by paper and light, developing a habit of reading late into the night. Over the years, she prioritized caring for others, her husband Martin and 2 children, but ignored her own checkups. In her 50s, she noticed subtle changes at night while driving, and the way light felt harsher in the morning. That change led her to an optometrist visit that opened a conversation about nutrition and aging that she wishes she had sooner. This history connects the past and present, the sensory world of pages and lamps, to the current conflict of preserving autonomy. Story 1. Maria Case, Vitamin A and Retinol Explanation. Maria, a retired chef, remembered the bright orange of roasted peppers and the silky taste of pumpkin soup. After a night out, she struggled with night blindness on a poorly lit street and felt fear in her chest like a cold hand. At the clinic, dialogue exchanges. Maria says, "I thought carrots would be enough." Nurse Carla replies, "Vitamin A includes retinol, which is active." Maria asks, "Is beta-carotene the same?" Nurse Carla says, "Not exactly. Retinol is readily used by the retina." Maria asks, "Can I get retinol from food?" Nurse Carla answers, "Yes, from eggs, liver, and dairy, but supplements may be needed in some cases." Maria asks about safe doses. Nurse Carla says, "Check blood levels and medical history." Maria asks, "What about smoking?" Nurse Carla warns, "Smoking increases oxidation and worsens the retina." Maria says, "I will quit." This scene carries sensory detail, the warmth of tomato on Maria's tongue, the smoky aroma of a kitchen, the cool metal of the clinic chair, a soft fluorescent hum above, and the quiet scratch of a pen as forms are filled. The biology is simple. Retinol is needed for the photoreceptor cells to detect light, and without enough, the eyes struggle in low light, leading to night blindness and trouble with contrast. Practical tip. Eat liver in moderation, eggs, and fortified dairy, and discuss retinol supplementation with your doctor, especially if you have malabsorption or restrictive diets. Story 2. Tom Case, Vitamin C and Capillary Strength. Tom, a former gardener, noticed tiny floaters and a bruise like haze at the edge of vision.
He loved the smell of damp soil and the sound of rain on greenhouses. Dialogue. Tom asks, can vitamin C really help the eyes? Dr. Vega answers, vitamin C supports capillaries and collagen in the retina and helps fight oxidation. Tom asks how much he should get. Dr. Vega says, aim for a diet rich in citrus, kiwi, peppers, and consider supplementation if diet is poor. Tom asks, are supplements safe with blood pressure meds? Dr. Vega suggests checking with his cardiologist. Tom says, I was skeptical, but I like the idea of food-based changes. Dr. Vega says, add red peppers to salads and try a citrus smoothie. Sensory notes include the tart burst of orange juice, the crisp snap of bell pepper, the earthy, damp scent of cut grass, the warmth of sunlight on Tom's forearms, and the distant call of a neighbor mowing a lawn. The mechanism is simple. Vitamin C is an antioxidant that helps maintain tiny blood vessels that feed the retina and macula, reducing leakage and inflammation that can blur sight. Food options rich in vitamin C are kiwi, strawberries, citrus, peppers, and broccoli, and supplementation is an option for those with poor diets.
Pause for a short empathy and community CTA. If you have ever felt that chill in your stomach when reading or driving at night, you are not alone. Many people tell us they thought it was just age and suffered in silence. If you want practical tips and moral support, type "vision clear" in the comments, or tell us in one sentence which symptom bothers you most: night vision, glare, dry eyes, or floaters. Your comment helps others and guides future videos. We read every message, and sometimes a single story here prompts someone to get an exam and catch a problem early. Your input builds this community and makes the next video more relevant to you. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Now back to the science and real cases. Story 3. Margaret case, vitamin D, D3 check, and supplementation. Margaret, a school crossing guard, felt winter days weigh on her eyes like a low light filter. She noticed slower recovery from glare when headlights hit her. Dialogue exchanges. Margaret asks, could vitamin D be linked to my eyes? Dr. Lewis answers, vitamin D, D3 supports immune balance and may reduce chronic inflammation in retinal tissues. Margaret asks how to test. Dr. Lewis says, request a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test. Margaret asks, what is a good level? Dr. Lewis says, often aim for above 30 Ng per milliliter, but discuss with your doctor. Margaret asks about sun exposure. Dr. Lewis notes, moderate sun and supplements in winter months. Margaret asks about dosing. Dr. Lewis says, follow lab results and medical history. Sensory scenes include the cold bite of winter air on Margaret's cheeks, the muffled crunch of gravel, the yellow of street lamps, the metallic click as she locks her coat, and the comforting aroma of tea at home. Practical note, check D3 levels at a lab and consider oral D3 supplementation when low, particularly because D3 helps regulate inflammation and supports capillary health in the retina. Story 4. Samuel case, vitamin E and dry eye relationship. Samuel, a retired electrician, loved the oily scent of motor oil and the tactile weight of tools. He complained of gritty eyes and a chronic dryness that made reading uncomfortable. Dialogue. Samuel says, my eyes feel like sand. Optometrist Nina replies, vitamin E works as an antioxidant, protecting cell membranes and may aid tear quality. Samuel asks, should I rub my eyes? Optometrist Nina says, avoid rubbing, it worsens inflammation. Samuel asks about food. Optometrist Nina lists nuts, seeds, spinach, and avocados. Samuel asks about supplement forms. Optometrist Nina warns of blood thinner interactions and recommends talking to a physician. Samuel asks, how soon will it help? Optometrist Nina says, weeks to months, and combined with omega-3 and humidifiers often helps. Sensory detail. The rough texture of an old tool handle, the faint metallic tang in the air of a workshop, the sting of a hot day on Samuel's forehead, the whisper of turning pages. Pages as he squints, and the soft coolness of an eye drop bottle cap. The biology is that vitamin E is an antioxidant that protects retinal cells from oxidative stress and may contribute to overall eye surface health when combined with other nutrients. Story 5.
Eleanor deep dive, lutein and zeaxanthin, main case and rich dialogue scene with 10 exchanges. Eleanor remembers sunlight striking the page like a hot coin and a sudden worry that words were running away. In the consultation room, she meets Dr. Patel again and the dialogue unfolds. Eleanor asks, is there a specific nutrient that targets the macula? Dr. Patel answers, lutein and zeaxanthin are the pigments that accumulate in the macula. Eleanor asks, how do they work? Dr. Patel explains, they filter harmful blue light and act as local antioxidants, reducing oxidation and inflammation. Eleanor asks, can I get enough from food? Dr. Patel says, leafy greens, eggs, and corn have lutein and zeaxanthin, but many people over 50 have lower levels. Eleanor asks about doses. Dr. Patel says, studies often use 10 to 20 milligrams of lutein and 2 to 4 milligrams of zeaxanthin daily, but check with your doctor. Eleanor asks about side effects. Dr. Patel replies, they are generally safe and well tolerated. Eleanor asks, how long to see change? Dr. Patel says, some notice better contrast and glare tolerance in months, others see slowed progression over years. Eleanor asks, will this reverse damage? Dr. Patel says, it may improve function and protect remaining tissue, but early action is best. Eleanor asks, which brand to choose? Dr. Patel says, choose reputable brands with third-party testing and avoid megadoses unless prescribed. Eleanor asks, what about combining with vitamins A, C, D, E? Dr. Patel says, a combined antioxidant approach often works best to support retina and capillaries. Sensory layer. A field of bright kale leaves gleaming after rain, the soft buttery taste of a free-range egg, the rustle of a grocery bag full of greens, a cool breeze on a morning walk, and the focused hum of a supplement bottle being opened. The explanation is plain. The macula needs lutein and zeaxanthin to filter damaging blue light and reduce oxidative stress, which preserves photoreceptors and capillaries that feed the retina. Practical plan. Increase leafy greens, eggs, and consider a lutein zeaxanthin supplement with a trusted label, and discuss dosage with an ophthalmologist or optometrist. Moments of tension. Paragraph 1. There is a raw moment when a person reads a label and a childhood memory surfaces, a fear that blurry letters mean loss of independence. Imagine Eleanor pausing by the mailbox with a grocery list she cannot read clearly, the sun hitting a reflection, and the sudden urge to hand over the car keys. That decision weighs heavily because it touches identity, memory, and the habit of doing small tasks alone. The body reacts, a tightness in the chest, the taste of metal in the mouth, a cold sweat, and the thought, what if this is the start of losing control? The scene captures internal conflict, desire for freedom, and the dread of decline. Moments of tension. Paragraph 2. Another tension unfolds in the clinic when test results show early macular change, and the clock seems to speed up. You watch numbers on a printout and feel that split second where denial meets action. There is anger too, a reaction of, why did I wait, and regret for missed checkups. The clinician's voice becomes both anchor and mirror. You must choose between inaction and the slow, patient path of nutrition testing and follow-up. That choice feels heavy, yet hopeful, because it is an arena where small, consistent decisions stack over time into real protection. Recap and action checklist. We covered 5 allies that matter: retinol for night vision, vitamin C for capillary strength, D3 for inflammation control, vitamin E for membrane protection, and lutein zeaxanthin for macular filtering. Quick checklist. Ask your doctor for a 25-hydroxy vitamin D test and basic nutrition history check. Check your retinol status if you have restrictive diets. Add vitamin C-rich foods like peppers and kiwi. Include vitamin E foods and consider omega-3 for dry eyes, and add a lutein zeaxanthin supplement or more leafy greens and eggs for macular support. Always check interactions with medications and get advice from your ophthalmologist, optometrist, or primary care doctor before starting high-dose supplements. If you are unsure, bring this checklist to your next visit and ask about targeted labs and a follow-up plan in 3 months. Epilogue. Follow up at 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months.
1 month later, Eleanor kept a simple log of food and supplements and noticed small wins. The page contrast felt slightly better under lamplight, and a morning walk felt less glare. She described the difference as subtle, a soft smoothing of edges, and she took photos of her grocery plate filled with spinach and eggs. She called her friend Margaret and shared a warmed cup of tea and a plan to compare notes at the clinic. 3 months later, the progress was clearer. A repeat test showed stabilized macular pigment density, improvements in glare tolerance, and her doctor, Dr. Patel, adjusted the lutein dose slightly. The texture of success was tactile, the new eyeglass cloth that no longer had to be dabbed as often, the sharper colors of a garden, and the confident click of a camera shutter at a grandchild's game. 6 months in, the routine was part of daily life. Supplements next to a toothbrush, leafy greens in 2 meals a day, and a checkup appointment marked on the calendar. Friends Tom, Maria, Samuel, and Nurse Carla became part of a weekly check-in group, sharing recipes and wins. The cumulative effect was not a miracle overnight, but measurable changes in function, more stable tests, and a stronger sense of control over the future. Conclusion and closing call to action. Protecting.
Your site is about preserving small freedoms, reading a book, driving at dusk, recognizing a face across a room. We reviewed practical steps: retinol for night vision, vitamin C for capillaries, D3 testing and replacement, vitamin E for membrane protection, and lutein zeaxanthin to support the macula. Take the checklist to your next appointment. Ask for simple labs and discuss supplementation choices with a trusted clinician. If this video helped, leave Vision Clear in the comments and subscribe to stay connected with practical, evidence-minded tips for life after 50. You do not have to accept blurry chapters as inevitable. You can take steps today to keep seeing the stories ahead.